This would be a quick setup for the hole-in-one quiver with a camera lock angle that makes you spin clockwise in the water. And what I mean by that is when you initiate camera lock or disable the Wind Waker general, there's an RNG chance that you get one of two camera angles, and that affects your setup, as one makes you spin clockwise in the water by holding straight up, and the other makes you spin counterclockwise. So you need to use the appropriate setup. So you get counterclockwise. I'll show the differences in a second, but if you get counterclockwise, please use mini setup that I'll link below, or maybe I'll tack on at the end. But this is for clockwise, and his for counterclockwise. So the one thing that's good about this clockwise setup is it releases at half air, which is pretty good. It releases pretty early, so you don't charge for that long. Unfortunately, it does have 4 buffered inputs before the release compared to his 2, but the main seller about this setup that I found is that it actually has 2 frames that work, and they're almost back-to-back, like in the grand scheme of things. So that's the thing, is you actually get 2 chances as opposed to the other setups where you only get, if you miss the frame, it's just over, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, let's get started. So first and foremost, I'm going to move Beetle a little bit. People usually do this anyways with storage, but you need to move Beetle so that he doesn't hit you when you start charging. That's important. And we're going to get storage. And if I can't get it, I'm going to cheat it in because I'm lazy. One more try. Or whatever, I'm cheating it in. So now we're going to target this wall and snap to it, or just collab and let go, your choice. Now that we're here, I'm going to initiate camera lock, and I'll show you the 2 different angles. So this, if you get this angle where Link's kind of facing, his eyes are facing like the right of the screen, that's clockwise, or counterclockwise, my apologies. And this, where he's facing the left, this is clockwise. So this is what we want. If you recognize the 2, and then you do the appropriate setup. So this is clockwise, the safe state, and show you real quick. Because now we're going to just walk off this wall right here, so to consistently get a consistent position in landing in the water. But one difference between the clockwise and counterclockwise is that if you notice mini setup, he'll get here and just hold down only, no L, and you'll see that his angle corrects to 25596 with my cursor up here. That's consistent, which is good, but it's only good for the counterclockwise to work, and if you do it for here, it'll mess up your setup. So instead, what we're going to do is continue to hold L all the way until we jump into the water, so that we keep this angle. But then, again, similarly to mini setup, we're going to start holding up here so that we have a consistent charge throughout the entirety of the trick. And I'll show you the visual cue I used to know when to start buffering out of the charge. First things first, I'm going to zoom in my mini-map, do the mini boost, and then I'm going to pause real quick. So we did the mini boost, and now if I frame advance unpausing, you can see my map right here. You can see that the arrow is facing this way, and using this as a reference point, as a starting point, I let the arrow rotate about 11 times. It might be a little bit more, just the way I count it. It adds up to 11, but I think there might be like a weird like 11 and a half, but just like I let it rotate 11 times. It also kind of corresponds to when the arrow disappears for a second. You can also react to that, but yeah, that's when I start pause buffering for the frame, and I'll do that now. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now I'm going to come back in on Forest Haven. And this frame right here, I'm going to save state. This is the first frame that works, so let me pause, frame advance unpausing. This is what we're looking at for when you want to pause. So Forest Haven is like the left side is down the middle of Link. So now, when you have this angle of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, the inputs on release are 3 L plus rights per frame. 3 L plus right inputs for 3 frames, and 1 left input only for 1 frame. Let's do that now. And now you'll have a different position, and your angle will lock in at 60034. You unpause, hold nothing, and you should just go straight to the thing. You don't have to pause buffer for BPR, because it's slow enough. And then you go here. Because I'm on emulator, the vines load a little bit faster. But that's a good sign, because usually, if this is the case, that means that this won't happen on console because it loads a little bit slower and it'll be safe. Oh wow, I got out. Yeah, that's the first frame, so now let's go show the second frame. So now we're back at this frame. Let's say you missed it. What you're going to want to do is let Force Haven pass one more time and then come back again and pause buffer to this angle right here. Let me save state again, and let me show you what it looks like. So now, kind of different, but now it's more like Force Haven just on the right side of Link. Barely kind of overlapping, and the angle is 63641. Again, let for statement pass an additional time, and then on the second come around, you pause buffer again. And on this frame, what we're going to want to do, where is the save state? Here you go. Instead of the 3 frames of L plus right followed by the 1 left, we're going to do 1 frame of L plus right followed by 3 frames of left. So let's do that now. And then you release similarly, and then again, you release at pretty much the same time, so you don't need to buffer anything. It just works out. And wow, that time it worked. It's cool. Usually I get caught by the vines on emulator, but that's cool. So yeah, those are the 2 setups. I will now show them on console with input display, so my explanation of the inputs make a little more visual sense. And yeah, and then after that I might add some additional stuff at the end, but yeah, cool. Let's do that now. I'll show them one by one, because it's kind of annoying to... There's no way to like save state on the angle on console and then continue from there, so yeah, we'll do that. Just for the heck of it, I'll show the counterclockwise setup just to have a cohesive video. So I'm going to let Beetle move. I'm going to cheat storage in this time because I'm not be bothered right now. So that is not the one we want. So let's cheat till we get the one we want. Clockwise. Cool, counterclockwise angle. So now here, let go of L, hold down, get the small angle change, hold up before entering the water. And now, after the second blub, I'll let Coral pass one more time and then start pause buffering. We pass one more time, so now we're going to come back in on Forbidden Woods. And when it's like this, where Forbidden Woods is just off, like barely on screen, I'm now going to do 2 frames of holding right if you look at the input display. And now we release. This one releases a little bit later, so it's a bit more speed, so we want to make sure to pause buffer in BPR to load it, but the Fairy Island doesn't, so that it loads quick enough for us. And then it should just work. Leo. That's that. If you're curious, because I didn't show an emulator, the angle that you buffer to before doing the 2 frames of R before the release is 57616. And then when you do the 2 frames of right, it corrects to 60016. So yeah, that's that. And also just to remind you that we let go of L when walking into the water, so your angle should correct to 25596 when you jump in the water, as opposed to the 25590 for the clockwise setup, so remember that. Okay, now for the dumb strat, if you want multiple chances at a specific camera log angle for some reason, if you have a super preference and you don't like one for some reason, store Coral's bomb text, do the usual angle setup, and then when you do camera lock here, if you don't like it, press B, retarget the wall, and try again. It wastes a text box every time. Maybe you could get more in if you did it really fast, but now we can just keep on trying. Until this one, not this one, this one. So you get multiple attempts. And that's kind of cool. I forgot that was 4 or 5. Either way, you can count. I can't count. You can count. You can look back and see how many that was. I'm lazy. But yeah, you can do that if you want to. Yeah, that's all for this.